Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Let's see if we can get in there.
I
There
don't
you are.
even understand.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everybody. Okay, so yeah, welcome to BnB Live, and thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in after the fact, thank you for listening. This has been an interesting time.
Yes, it is. We're 2 minutes behind our schedule here, but we are here. We've had some unforeseen things happening, technical difficulties. So we are going live through the cellular, the phone.
Right. The phone was supposed to be on Instagram, and the computer was supposed to. Well, okay, let me back that up. I left my Mac at home, and I thought, oh, but we have a computer in the showroom. We can just use that. That's great. Yeah. Okay. So we had to get the Mevo connected to it and thought, okay, if that doesn't work, we'll just do StreamYard through it. And we're like, oh, that's right. We got to restart the computer. Well, we restarted it, oh, I don't know, 10 minutes or so ago. And it's now saying it's working on update 16%.
Yes. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
We figured out another way and we're live now.
Right. So we're live, but Instagram peeps are probably like, where are they? Because I had scheduled it on there and I didn't bring my iPad, so it's been an interesting.
Well, you're getting ready for a trip, and I know we're gonna dive into that part of the conversation, but before we do, it's been great these last couple of Thursdays because you've also been interviewing on the Fair Trade Network. You've been interviewing some really great individuals, people that are doing a lot of fantastic things. You had Teresa from
Fair Trade Long
Beach, and then we also had
Alicia from Fair Trade LA.
We had Gina Farrar.
Yeah, who's going to be teaching our painting class, and we're going to talk about that. We decided to postpone that until the summer because, well, I'll get into that part of it. But, so for about 4 weeks, my back has been out really bad. If you probably saw the post on Facebook about it. I've had a lot of crazy stuff going on. This always happens right before I go to Kenya, but this has been a very increasing amount of things. And I'm in pain right now. So I've been in so much pain that I haven't been able to really work on promoting it, or even I'm lucky that a post gets up. It's just been
very discomforting.
Very discomforting. I did an event I actually spoke at an event, and I was like, I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do that. And I'm so glad I did, but I was sorry after the fact because I put myself back a few paces, and it's just been horrible pain. And then I go on Tuesday to get an injection. I'm at the point where I'm like, nothing else is going to work. I know I've been improving my diet again. Some of it's part of that. Mm-hmm. But I show up at the doctor to get the injection, and they're like, no, sorry, this is just an appointment. You're going to get the injection
later.
Great. And that same day, that same day, my hot water heater went out. I found out one of my cats has a growth in his throat, and it's one of those things that's not really operable. The doctor's given me, or the vet's given me some things to maybe it'll shrink it a little, but the prognosis isn't good. So when he gets to the point where he can't breathe, it's going to be time for him to cross the rainbow bridge, as they say, for pets. And so that I heard that the same day. And then I heard two of the people that were going to be bigger fundraisers, or probably contribute bigger chunks of funding. One of them was an organization. One of them was somebody who was raising some funds for a specific thing. They both contacted me on that day and said, nope.
So you got a lot of no's.
Yeah. And yeah, I had a meltdown. I did. I'll admit it. And I've said before, pain's the great equalizer. You know, when you're in pain, that makes things that much more difficult to handle. And I live by myself and don't really have anybody like right around me to help me out. And luckily my son had Indigo, my dog, for a while, because I couldn't even walk her at all. I'm having a hard time now just walking her. So been taking her to the doggy daycare, and I found out that I need to check on how to do this, but I have pet insurance, and if you are in the hospital or incapacitated, they'll cover the daycare. So,
Oh, okay. Well,
or
that
the
they
boarding or whatever.
right.
So I'm gonna have to see about that. But it's just been one thing after another. But you know, I always say life's in session. Life always happens. So
Right.
it's like how do you pivot, that word pivot, but course correct, whatever you want to call it, make a change and make a shift and make a decision to go a different direction to hopefully make the thing stop happening.
Right.
My hot water heater went out too. Did I say that?
Yeah, you mentioned
Yeah.
that. Yeah, definitely mentioned that. I mean, there's no, it's, I guess, I mean, to the degree of the opposition is one thing, right? That's all, but it's not a shocker though, right? To some degree that there would be opposition against you because of the great work that you are a part of and the things that you are doing and how Baskets and Beads of Kenya is really making an impact in the lives of these women. Every trip that you have gone on, it just seems like it's a new level of opportunities and doors that open. But in addition to that, the opposition and the trials, if you want to say, get heavier and thicker and deeper, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, although, you're being candid and you're sharing with the audience and you're letting them know, listen, these are the things that I'm up against, and they're legitimate things, your physical well-being in your body, being not as mobile as you're used to. That's a big thing. And having to be in an airplane flying for how many hours will you be in the air?
Well, it's about 26 hours of travel. So if you're going international, they want you there 3 hours in advance. It's 2 hours is good, but let's just say 3 hours. So I show up 3 hours in advance. I think my flight leaves at 8:30 p.m. So I'll have to, and this is LAX, so I'll have to leave here. I may stay the night at my son's because he's up in Redondo and he's going to be watching Indigo. I'll probably leave my car there or whatever. I haven't figured that out yet. But then you go to the airport and you do the 3 hours or whatever, and you get on the plane, and it's 11 hours to Europe.
Okay.
So then you land in Europe, and I think I have a 3 or 4 hour layover, and I do that on purpose to go into the lounge, whatever, and take a shower. I always take a change of clothes, and that's a travel hack, by the way. If you're not used to international travel and you're going on a long haul like that, it's always good if you're doing a hop because it's 11 hours to Europe, it's another 8.5 to Nairobi. Well, so you add that up, and it's almost 20 hours of flying, and you don't have it's just you're in the air. It does stuff to your skin. You feel kind of grungy. Yeah. So and then you have jet lag because there's a 10-hour time difference. Taking a shower in between and having that time to just go in and refresh and get something to eat and all that, but just having that time to refresh makes a big difference. So that's a travel hack I always like to share about, and I'll probably do a little video of that on the way.
Yeah.
But then you get there, get on the plane, another 8.5 hours in Nairobi. Then you get there, and you usually lately the last 3 times I've gone or 2 times I've gone, it's pretty quick to clear customs. But last time I went, I waited for hours for my bags, and they didn't bother saying you need to go overlook on this board, and 2 of my bags had decided to take a tour somewhere around Europe.
Right.
So then I had to wait in this line. So I got there at 10 o'clock, and it's 1 a.m. and I'm waiting in this line. I have to wait in the line. I have to fill out this paperwork and give them my bag tags, and it's going to come at some point, and they're going to deliver it to us.
So let me ask you a question real quick, because something just came to my mind right now, Donna. You used the word pivot right now or moments ago. Considering the shifts and the unforeseen changes, like you talked about, there was an expectation that maybe this organization was going to donate and this other person was going to stay committed to what they initially said they would do, and now things have shifted and have changed with that. Going forward now, and knowing your time frame that you have from this point to the time you're in the air and you're on your way to the women, to the ladies there in Africa, what does that pivot look like for you? Like what does that shift look like for you? What are you now going to focus on in preparation for this trip? Because I think the message as we were preparing for today's segment is like when the things, the trials and everything comes at you, do you just give up? Right.
Right. You quit.
Do you throw your hands up and say, well, obviously it's not working, so I'm just not going to go, and I'm just going to cancel this trip, and I'm just going to figure it out and do it for another time later? What's the, if you want to say, the new plan? Like, what is the focus now going forward? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, definitely have thought about that. And so we were raising $20,000, which almost 10 of that was to potentially buy some land. We were going to do a mobile medical clinic and some other things. I've raised about $3,600, and I don't know, if you're listening and you are inclined to donate, I'll put the link. It's givesengo.com/Mission Kenya. But I'm not focusing right now. I'm focusing on my health. But with the money that I've raised, and if I raise any more, what I really feel from a spiritual perspective, I mean, our main concern is the women and the kids. So we're going to focus on basically ministering to the women, spending time with them, giving them an opportunity to, and actually talking to Layla today. So we have our ladies in Kipsongo, the other ladies up in Mount Elgon, which, by the way, has grown from 15 to 20 now.
Okay.
And they want to go with us. So we're up. Mount Elgon is it's so beautiful up there. But they have a national park, and there's like waterfalls, and there's caves, and there's things to explore. We were going to do all of this stuff, mobile medical clinic for a day, and run around and do all this stuff. So we've scrapped all that. What we're going to primarily do is focusing on having time to connect. And these women are from two different tribes. So the biggest problem, we talk about here in the U.S. that people talk about racism and whatever prejudice people have against people. I mean, it doesn't matter. There, it's tribalism. So these ladies are from two different tribes, and we're going to come together, and they're both excited about it, both groups, and we're going to come together and plan a day running around Mount Elgon National Park.
So community amongst the tribes,
yeah,
bringing them together. I think that's going to be a beautiful time then for you guys. And I think it's powerful though that that instead of just completely throwing your hands up and saying, okay, this is just not working and I'm just not going to go, or I mean, and you really do have all the rights, if you want to say, to feel and to be discouraged by all the opposition that's been happening. If it's okay, I'd like to, express and share with the audience that is watching either now or even later, the power of prayer, and how I know you would also appreciate if you can't financially give or support what's happening with Baskets and Beads of Kenya. The one thing you can do is you can pray.
Yeah.
And would you be willing to share with the audience maybe some of the specific things that you would want prayer for, even for yourself and for the women? Or like, are there things that you can share, like this is what you can pray in agreement?
Yeah.
How would you want the audience to pray in agreement with you as you prepare for this trip, Aldana?
Well, definitely for my health. I'm going tomorrow to get an injection, and like last year I had the same back issues come up, but this year it's a lot worse. It's been so bad that I've been having, like I said, serious difficulty walking. Mm-hmm. And actually even leaning, whatever. Last week I actually was in the ER, right, because the pain was so bad that I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it. And if anybody who knows me knows that I'm one tough cookie.
Yeah.
I don't like to take stuff.
Yeah, your tolerance for pain.
I have to be in a lot of pain to take something. And I had gone the week before, and I was trying to get this injection and all of this, and it just hasn't been working. And so just prayer for my back, that it'll be strengthened and healed. And then for the travel there, safe travel there for both me and then Layla and I, as we travel from Nairobi to Kitale, and then Kitale up to Mount Elgon, and that just whatever the focus should be. And we think that we know, we think that and sometimes God says stop. Mm-hmm. I was listening to a message, an interview that Pastor Rick was doing with Pastor Andy Wood, the new pastor of Saddleback, and I've been watching the message online because I can't even go to church because I can't sit in a chair at church and can't,
just the discomfort.
Yeah. So that I have a position I can sit in, and it doesn't hurt as bad. it hurts to sleep even. I haven't slept very well. I've last couple nights I've slept, but it just sometimes it's that stop. You're doing way too much, and I felt like, okay, we're going to have a class, and we were going to do all this stuff there, and working on getting people to go, and just all these things when the focus really just needs to be on the women. And they're making more products. There's a lot of products that are out of stock, which is great, but just the focus needs to be on them. So just prayers for them, prayers for our time together, that it would be a blessed time, that there I have some things planned, some exercises that we're going to do together, where each woman will get an opportunity to share kind of what they feel or what's important to them. And I think what you learn from that is, wow, she's like me. I'm like her,
right,
kind of thing.
Because it's so easy for us to focus, even here, it's easy for us to focus on how we are different. But when we take time and we're patient enough with one another to really to choose to talk about how the ways where there's like that common thread between us. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome that you're going to create. You're making room for that atmosphere for them to have that kind of conversation of like how we are alike. You know what I mean? The common thread between us, as opposed to, well, this is what makes us different. And you mentioned even obviously you're bringing two tribes of women together, and naturally, what's the natural? I mean, oh, I'm from like this group or this tribe, and you're, and so like we're more elite than you, or we're better than you, or you because you're from this part.
It's just
like
distrust, and the thing that I've shared about, like in the beginning, even the ladies in our group, the first group. Now we have two groups. The first group, they didn't know how to be together and trust each other.
Okay.
And I shared on Monday Mastery, connection builds trust, and the importance of reaching out and connecting and having that time. It was very interesting at the speaking engagement I did. I ran a game that I shared this. If you go back to Mastery Monday, you'll see the little article I shared about that. How I ran this game that I've been running for 10 years, and it's predictable what happens. Everybody gets up, moves around. There's usually a couple people that don't feel comfortable playing because they don't feel comfortable negotiating. It was over 100 people in the whole room sat there. like maybe 5 people out of the 100 got up and moved around.
Wow.
And I was kind of like, okay, I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this. This is my first or second in-person presentation since COVID. So all the rest have been online. So running this game, I'm like, well, is it me? I always do an after action review, and I was kind of like, no, it wasn't me. I saw another post about how we don't know how to connect anymore. Right. People didn't feel comfortable connecting.
Yeah.
And it
seems foreign.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just couldn't believe it. I'm looking around the room, and they're just sitting at their round tables, and they're just like, talking to each other. They didn't even get up and move. And I thought, wow, that just the fact that we don't connect anymore like we used to. And
we
hard.
need to, but we need to get back to that. It's important. So that's great that you were able to, like, whether it was through an exercise, and then you're going to be able to do this now with the women.
Right. Yeah. We have a little exercise I have planned, and we're going to stay overnight at a place in Mount Elgon, and just have a time of connecting and fellowship, and that them, and then the kids. We're going to visit all the kids that are being sponsored. As a matter of fact, we had enough money to put another kid in school.
That's
so
yes, that's
a
big deal.
Well, I was talking to some of the other kids because they're just going back to school. They go year round in school there. There was another mom that asked, because her daughter is in grade 8, and she's been home. She hasn't been to school since the term started. And I was talking to her, and I said, well, I can do my part by helping you here. What are you going to do? What's your part? And she said, I'm going to study hard. I'll make you proud. I'm going to work hard. And so
that's beautiful.
That's the important thing. We don't want to put a kid in school that's going to be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
every kid that we've been able to put in school. So I think this makes 7. I think we ebb and flow between like 7 and 11. It's either 7 or 8. I'm trying to think, because we didn't do Ollie. So he's a little guy, but these kids are like in grade 8 on up, and the problem that happens in Kenya with the literacy rate, most girls especially around this age drop out of school because they can't. This it gets more and more it's ridiculously expensive, especially for what the income is there in Kenya. So the fact that we're able to put a lot of kids, one of the kids, Aloys, I've talked about him before.
He's like the engineer mind,
Yeah,
right?
and he was like,
Yes.
he said, thank you, because right there where they go and buy the school supplies, there's a lot of street kids, and the street kids there huff glue, and he sees them all right there while they're going to get the school supplies, and he said, if it wasn't for you guys putting us in school, I'd be one of those kids. So thank you, I really appreciate it.
And you know what, and the power of being able to impact one, and but I also see that it's definitely a domino effect, meaning that, again, I always go back to how this all originated, and when you first went and came back and what you came back with, but how much it's grown. It's the multiplication factor where it just keeps multiplying and multiplying, and I believe that it's going to continue to multiply despite the opposition and the struggles that have happened in the last couple of weeks, and as you prepare to leave and to go on this trip, you know what I mean. But that's another thing I wanted to make mention in this segment right now, is that, like, the common thing that I see among people who are making a difference is that opposition is expected because you're doing the right thing, and you're on the right track when you have that coming against you. I think we have to worry when things are just going too well, and you're just kind of like, oh, like, all is good, all is well, but it's like, no, I mean, like, people's lives are being transformed. They're being transformed, and that's going to continue to multiply, and more lives are going to continue to be transformed. And I believe that the resources are out there.
Yeah.
The organizations, you are out there. The people, whoever's watching this, you are out there. You are in a position where you can make a contribution to what is happening with Baskets and Beads of Kenya. You can pull out your checkbook, go to your bank. I mean, you have the means to do so. And you are the person that Aldana's not asking me to do this, by the way. She's probably like, what are you doing? But what I want to share with you today is that you have the means to financially back this project up. And I want to lovingly challenge you today to take a moment to consider making a donation towards this trip for the Baskets and Beads of Kenya.
I can share that.
And I think she's going to work on trying to add the link for the go. What is it called?
Gifts
again?
and Go.
Gifts and Go.
Gifts and Go is similar to GoFundMe.
Oh, there, Gifts and Go, right there.
There you go. Yeah, giftsandgo.com/Mission Kenya. It's similar to GoFundMe, but it's a faith-based organization. Right. And when stuff that was happening with GoFundMe and they were taking people's money, I'm like, well, I don't want somebody to decide that they don't like what I'm doing and stop whatever it is. Right. And so I found this Give Send Go, and they actually call, and I don't answer phone numbers I don't recognize, but they left a message.
I remember you had me listen to the voicemail. Yeah. That was really so personable. Like, yeah. I was like, what?
She looked at what I was had in my description about what we're raising funds for, and she just prayed
right on the spot. Yeah, she prayed. I remember. I'll never forget because you showed that to me,
and it was just really cool.
Yeah, and so she just put the link up for you. Gives and Go.
Givesandgo.com/mission.
Gifts and Go. Yes.
If you're on Facebook, it's the banner, the big picture. There's a QR code there, and you can scroll down through the group or the page or the Facebook. Also, it's on LinkedIn, and pick up the link there. Any amount would help. So what we're going to focus on with the funds is doing things to help these women, giving them an opportunity for some time to just be together, and then obviously for the kids are starting back to school, so we're paying the school fees. And actually the one kid today, Layla was telling me what the fees are, and then the books. I'm like, does she have a uniform? No, she doesn't have a uniform.
And she needs that in order to
she has to go get a uniform.
And of course, when they go to the link there, you have itemized, right? Like where the funds are going to be going to, right? So it's very detailed. Of course, you know, if you need to get a hold of Eldana, I know that there's many ways they can get a hold of you anyways, but she has you have done a great job of itemizing like where these funds, how they're being allocated, right? You know, as far as where you had mentioned before the mobile clinic, but of course that's kind of shifted for right now. That doesn't have to shift, of course, if through someone's generous donation, you know, then you'd be able to get back on track with that. But what I do love about how, even though the opposition that's coming against you, how you've just basically have shifted and said, okay, well, we're still going to go and we're still going to do something, and we're going to make an impact, and we're going to make a difference. We're just going to change the plan a little bit. So, you know, it's definitely not.
No, that's interesting.
We are on BnB live right now. The Fair Trade Network.
Right.
Well, you know, I don't know if there's anything else you have to say, but we've been on here for about a good half an hour now.
Yeah, no, that's about it. I just wanted to give everybody an update because, like, you know, life isn't all rose petals and fairy dust. So, and things happen, and it's how you handle it. And you know, I'm not 100% right now. You can probably tell I'm a little bit. I'm working on having my energy up.
Right.
And I'm pushing through it. I think after tomorrow, I'm going to rest this weekend and take care of myself. My daughter's taking me out next Friday for a Mother's Day tea, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's just about, okay, I'm getting down to the wire, and I have this big goal, and we were planning on doing this and this. Oh, one of the other things you can pray for is that the rains and the roads dry up, because the crop's ready to be harvested, and there's no, they haven't been able to get up there to get it. So I'm just praying that the roads dry up so the trucks can get up there to get the product, and so we can get it to market, because we do have a buyer. So Layla's going up there tomorrow, and it's quite a trip up there, because you can only go, especially with the roads like that, you can only go so far in a vehicle, and then you take a motorcycle taxi, and that gets kind of squirrely because of all the mud. And yeah, it's interesting. So just prayers for that too. So yeah, but the thing is, the most important thing is when you come up against something, it's not to give up. And you make it like Tuesday, trust me, I was like, I can't take another thing happening to me right now. Because it's not just been this week. It's been about 4 weeks. My car broke down. I almost got T-boned once. Somebody pulled out in front of me. There's been some other things happen. It's just been one thing after another. And it's kind of like, I got to keep going.
Right.
You know, when you're in pain, it's hard, but you have to do some kind of course correction, make a different decision. So you not only take care of yourself, not only for me physically, but mentally as well, because it's a lot to carry. So it's the importance of taking a step back, taking a look, making a different plan, shifting and going. It's kind of like what we did in the military. You got to shift the mission. The mission's going to go this way. This isn't working. We have to do some kind of thing to shift the mission to still accomplish part of the mission that we set out to do, but in a more focused way, I think.
So we're going to definitely want to keep Eldana in prayer as she prepares for this trip. She was very specific about some of the things that you and I can hold her in prayer, and just believing that with these changes, you know, that the work of God is still going to be done. Like, that's not going to change.
Yeah.
That great things are going to happen. And that you're going to come back with such an incredible report too. When you come back, all of the great, you know, stories, the testimonies that you're going to be able to share with us, as well as what took place while you were there. So
yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining. Again, givesendgo.com/Mission Kenya. If you feel led to donate, it will be put to good use. It will go to help the people in Kenya.
Absolutely.
So I will see you soon.
And what do we say?
Nakupenda.
Nakupenda. You guys have a great one.